Oh, I'm just filming stuff, you alright? Right, so today we've got a nice special one for you. This one's very rarely seen. I've only seen one video of it on YouTube, and that was very, very recently when someone got in. But this is the remains of the underground works of a fortification that was built in, when was it? Oh God, 1819 they finished constructing this one. But I'm going to explain some of the history as we go round, and I'll show you around the remains of these tunnels. So let me turn you around and let's go. Right, so as you can see, if we look over this backfill, those tunnels go quite a way back. But here was part of the tunnel that's been backfilled now, and another entrance that's been backfilled. So let's go down this tunnel now. We'll make our way round and I'll explain more. Sorry fellas, I'll excuse your urban exploring politics discussion. Right, so this small tunnel here runs around these larger two rooms, which we'll go into in just a moment. Now, this is quite interesting because I found something here that I've not seen before. But let's have a look here. So this here, you can see that this is not original brickwork sealing this off. That's newer than the actual fort itself. If we look through the hole, hold on, look up. Can I angle it? Yeah, so you can see this was a tunnel that originally went to the outside that was breached previously. And then whoever it was, maybe a couple of decades ago, has made their way down here to find this wall and then breached to take a look on the inside. But if we follow this round, and this is what I found which is really quite interesting, look, so so these are the slits here. If you look in there, you can see those metal grates. I'm guessing they're copper because of the way they're patinaed green, but you never see that really, never really see it. So that's original, that's nice. But yeah, a little bit more of the history. So yes, fort was built in 1819, or finished constructing it in 1819. But by that time, yeah, look, you can see another entrance that was backfilled there, along with this one. But look, there's lots of original features, look. So this was from a couple of decades, well, a few decades back when they were building the newer structures above ground. Yeah, some old tins. Some quite older ones up there, but yep. Right. But, oh, actually, before we get to this section, so yeah, I'm getting carried away showing you all the stuff in there. I'm not telling you about the history. So the history: fortification, large fortification, built in 1819, and then because the Napoleonic Wars were coming to an end, this was never actually used as a defensive fortification. What did happen was that they started to use it to treat wounded military personnel, initially from the Crimean War. And then as things progressed, they developed it in 1850 into a full-on military hospital. It last saw its final days of service at the end of World War I, so they were treating people from the First World War here as well. Then in about 1930, the site was sold by the War Department to an educational institution who then converted a lot of the above-ground buildings into schools and demolished the rest of it. What we're in now is the underground works that they just completely buried and forgot about. Now, they didn't completely forget about it to a point. They did reuse it during World War II as an air raid shelter for the kids. And that's the bit I'm about to show you now. So let's have a look at that bit. So yeah, as we go forward here, you can see these railings are far more modern than the rest of the fort. And that is because this part was put in during World War II. Because they used this part, that would have been your way in, because the school would have been that side, and then they would have used this area here as a air raid shelter for all the kids. And you can see another one of these backfilled entrances here, and this thing's spurred off all over the place. Got another room here. I mean, there's a lot of the original fixings. Got some of the old ironwork. And this would have looked out onto the defences, overlooking the river. There's original wood there as well. Although I did see some, oh yeah, I forgot about this. So there's a rack here now. Someone else thought there might be a gun rack. Now, given the guns of the time, I would say that's too small to be a gun rack, personally. They are wheels, yeah, because you can see that there's a little rivet in the centre, so something would have turned on the inside. So I'm sceptical as to whether or not that would have been a gun rack, if I'm honest. And they're too close together, and they're too small. Gun racks typically further apart and they're wider. It's not a gun rack, not at all. There's bits of it all over the floor here, whatever it is. Yeah, exactly. It's not a gun rack. Sorry to the guy who thought it was a gun rack. I'm not trying to, I'm not trying to correct you. I'm just saying it's not a gun rack, mate. Right, last part. We'll go round. So again, this would have gone out towards the river, and this is far newer, the brickwork, but in the corners we can see here the remains of hinges on both sides. So there would have probably been a gate or a large reinforced door here, just to seal that up from the outside. So we'll go through this way to the last part. Got a room, just an empty room here, a couple of bits of old ironwork. Now these, it is quite difficult with stuff like this to find out how old it is. I mean, could it have been from the time of the fort or maybe Second World War? Who knows? Not entirely sure. And there's a random pile, I was about to say, there's a random pile of dirt in the floor, but that's because they tried to seal this ventilation hole. And obviously they just kept chucking stuff down and didn't realise that it wasn't going to fill it, and then they've just put a slab over it on the top. But we've got an old fireplace here. What would have been a fireplace, they've even bricked that up. That's a shame. You can see the original iron just above there. And then another window looking out towards the river. But here we've got reminders of the Second World War. Some of the old electrical fittings. Did you see this, Graham? Second World War electrical fittings there. Yeah, Second World War electrical fittings. Right, last part, and this is the bit I loved. Look at this. So I'm standing straight, and it's a wooden door frame that curves in towards you, and it's all still intact. And that is original. That's really cool. Right, and then the floor, this is quite unique. Not many forts have got this, but they've just scored the concrete to make it easier to walk up. But then that leaves us to here, another backfilled entrance. But what we've got, again, another one of these original door frames. This here is actually a door that they fashioned out of corrugated metal and green paint. So that tells me that that door was put in potentially in the Second World War. So maybe this was a second entrance into the air raid shelter for the kids. But yeah, that is it. So as always, thanks for watching, and we will see you next time. Cheers.